What's up, everybody? Steve Daria here. Today I want to talk about some factors that I think could have devastating effects on the real estate market. Look, as a local real estate broker, I talk to a lot of real estate agents, investors, buyers, sellers on a regular basis. And so many people have so many different opinions as to where the market's going to go. Some people think that it's going to keep going higher and higher. Other people think we're going to have a devastating crash, and others just don't know what to believe, or really they don't know what way the real estate market's going to go. So today I want to talk about some factors associated with some things that could affect the real estate market. For one thing, the amount of money printing that's going on in today, I mean, it's just astonishing, and all that is doing is it's going to have an adverse effect on what's going to happen to the macroeconomics of our country. And if they keep printing and printing and printing, it's just going to lead into inflation, which is the next thing. I know everybody is feeling the squeeze right now on inflation. And it's not on all items. You know, there's charts out there that'll show like certain items are actually coming down in price. I think clothing was one of them. But then other items like beef and bacon and milk and eggs. And there's so many other products out there that are really skyrocketing in price. And that is constricting the average family, which we're going to talk more in detail about as well. But, you know, the person that is kind of living paycheck to paycheck, they're going to need as much money in their pocket, not only to feed their families, but to keep a roof over their head. So if we have a lot more inflation to hit, people are going to be squeezed, and they're going to have to go ahead and either sell their property, downsize. If they're renting a property, they're going to have to downsize, and or these people are going to actually have to move in with other family members to start splitting costs. Another thing is the stock market manipulation, and there's a lot of things tied to the stock market, and I think that if the stock market does take a hit, we might see it have an effect on the real estate market as well. Stimulus and unemployment, those are both ending right now, and I think that a lot of people thought maybe that was never going to end, and they're going to start feeling the crunch on that as well, which is further, like talking about inflation, is going to put people out of certain homes, or certain people are going to have to go ahead and combine homes as well. Higher taxes, I think a lot of people understand that the Biden administration is just increasing taxes across the board. And, you know, in some cases, I mean, if you're getting taxed up to 60%, you know, for every $100, you're keeping $40. And I think that a lot of people are going to feel that. And if taxes keep increasing, that's just going to be less money that's going to go out to stimulate the economy, and less money going to housing and everything else. So a lot of those people are going to get squeezed. And, you know, it's like, it depends on where you live too. You know, if you live in California or New York, you have that high state income taxes, unlike Florida where we have zero state income taxes. So it also depends geographically where you're living as well. Trade deficit. I mean, we as a country, we are not producing as much as we should be producing, and that all that is having a devastating effect on our global economy, or our economy in the United States. So, you know, we're consuming more than we're producing, and it's just not good for macroeconomics associated with our country. Obviously, we have a housing affordability issue. If you look at a lot of the stats out there right now in 2021, or, you know, where we're at today in September 2021, the consumer confidence, I think it's like 64% of people are not confident about the real estate market, and they're not confident buying in the current real estate market. Obviously sellers are, and they're taking advantage of a high market right now, but people are stepping back, and I think we're absolutely going to see more inventory come to market because people are just not out there searching around. They decide to go ahead and lock in that annual lease and let things cool down. Moratoriums, foreclosure moratorium. Look, there's always a natural cycle of foreclosures, and I got the stats here as well. So 2016, in terms of foreclosure filings, there's 933,000 filings of foreclosures. 2017 dropped down to 676,000. 2018, 624,000. So there is a natural evolution of foreclosures and foreclosure filings that has to go through the system, and because of the moratorium, it just completely stopped, and that's not good for the real estate market either, obviously contributing to a shortage of homes. And when they start to go through the foreclosure proceedings, that's going to add inventory to the market. Evictions have ended. I mean, why pay your rent if you don't have to? And a lot of people were doing that, and unfortunately, mom and pop landlords were stuck with the bag, and they were not going to list their properties with a non-paying tenant because that decreases the value of their property. So they unfortunately had to wait this situation out until now that they can evict these tenants. And now a lot of them just, I think, have disgust about owning real estate, owning investment property, and having our government saying directly that you cannot evict a non-paying tenant. And it's unfortunate. I know a lot of people need help, but unfortunately, I think that it hurt a lot of landlords. And I think a lot of landlords, I think we're going to see over the next several months, a lot of landlords are going to be listing their properties for sale. Forbearance ending, why pay your mortgage if you don't have to? I know a lot of people, even here locally that I talked to, they were fine continue paying their mortgage, but a lot of them elected to do the forbearance. For what reason, I don't know. You had other people that elected to do the forbearance because they didn't know if their job security would be there, if they would take a reduction in rent, so they just didn't know. And then, unfortunately, a lot of people didn't understand that, if you didn't pay 12 months, 16 months of your mortgage, that could be due, or you're going to have to modify your loan, or you're going to have to go through a process to basically maybe even, do a loan modification as mentioned. And I think a lot of people they might not get approved for the modification. And if that's the case, I think we're going to see more inventory hit the market. It's estimated right now that 18,000 people per day are going to exit forbearance. So that means they're either going to have to sell their properties, they're going to have to refinance, or they're going to have to work with their current bank to figure out if they can do a modification of some sort. You also had the natural cycle of people who have to move. And I just want to talk about this because, you have people that need to move because of death, divorce, disease, relocation, all these things that unfortunately pushes people out of their homes. And if somebody bought, let's say in today's market, let's say the market capped out, and I think we're capped out, and let's say they bought a house for $300,000, and let's say they sell it in a flat market for what they paid for a year later, and they got to sell, and they got an FHA loan with 3.5% down. After closing costs, after commissions, everything else, they're going to have to come to the table with a check to get that deal done. And we're going to talk about people paycheck to paycheck. They're just not going to have those funds to cut a check at closing. So those people are going to be upside down. They might be in short sale scenarios as well. So that inventory might come to market as well as distressed assets, which could bring down the real estate market even more. Zombie corporations, jobs associated with zombie corporations, pensions associated with zombie corporations. This is one thing that I don't think is talked about a lot. And if you don't know what that is, essentially a zombie corporation is a company that's insolvent. The only way that they're surviving right now is any kind of government grants or stimulus, and also taking advantage of low rates with debt. But basically they're insolvent. They without government and without debt, they're not able to service all their expenses, so they're not profitable. And you're talking some big corporations out there that are zombie corporations. And speaking about pensions, you got pensions associated with risky stocks as well. And there's a good book out there. I'll put a link down below for you guys. It's Robert Kiyosaki's book, Who Stole My Pension? I also did a video on this as well. It's scary, but the people that are in charge of a lot of these pensions are getting paydays for themselves, and they're risking people's money, and it's sad to see, and it's unfortunate. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people's retirements could get wiped out if the stock market goes down. Consumer debt, as mentioned, people are paycheck to paycheck. Estimated 54% of adults are paycheck to paycheck. That's 125 million people, roughly, I guess. I mean, that's just astonishing. So, one bad thing, one hospital bill or whatever could put somebody out, and that could, put them, if they own a home, that, it's unfortunate. They'll probably have to list their home and get rid of it. I think I can go on and on with different macroeconomic issues that are out there that could be tied to the real estate market. And, I'm not trying to scare anyone here, but I'm just saying that I think people need to take a step back and see that what goes up flattens out and comes back down. And I got to ask the question, and maybe you can comment below, where do you think we're at in this real estate market right now?